All right, everyone, welcome back to the Healthy Body Podcast. My name is Brianna Wilkerson. I'm your host, and today I have with me Missy Berkowitz, who is just your all-around health and wellness professional. She's a personal trainer and just really cares about seeing people have healthy lives through fitness and all these other things. And so today she's here with us to continue talking about the series around how can we really be healthy through the holidays. And we, as you all may know, I have a Healthy Through the Holidays Summit coming up, and Missy's taking part of it. So I just thought it would be really cool to introduce some people throughout who are going to take part in the summit and share their tips and their story with us on the podcast. So thank you so much, Missy, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yay. Well, I'm just going to make you talk all about you. And so will you just kind of introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then your story kind of that led you to, leaving your corporate job to doing what you do now with training.
Sure. So my name is Missy Berkowitz. I am the founder of Dig Your Deepest. I started my own business at the beginning of the year to do some lifestyle and fitness coaching. And right now it's been more on the actual personal training side. So I've been getting more into some small fitness classes and then also one-on-one training. And I even do virtual training. I have a client that is sort of a hybrid between personal training and we just do it through Facebook video chat, and then we also do the coaching aspect, which is more in terms of setting goals, staying accountable, checking in, and things like that. So I've been doing a hybrid of things because as somebody new to the business and the fitness world, I'm just going where things are taking me and not trying to force something if that's not where I'm getting a lot of attraction from. So my story a little bit, I was in the corporate world for my entire career. I've always picked jobs that were based on stability and work-life balance. Ever since I came out of college, I made that conscientious decision, and it ultimately led me to my last job. I was working in IT as an associate director was my title. I managed a small team of business analysts. And I think just the longer I was doing it, I just sort of started really, I don't know what the right word is. I just knew it wasn't a fit for me. And I think it's kind of like you can only fake things for so long until it catches up with you. And I've always been into fitness as an adult. I wasn't growing up. I didn't do organized sports or anything like that. And I was nothing of an athlete. And then, as I got into my 20s out of college, I realized that I had to work out to, be able to balance out all the other stuff that I was doing. And so I really found that I actually did enjoy fitness. And so I had done it for so long on a personal level. And with my last job, long story short, but I was laid off, but I had kind of like planted that seed in the past because I knew I didn't want to be there long term, but I also knew I wasn't going to just one day walk in and leave and say, this is it, I'm not coming back, because that's just really scary to do. So it kind of worked out that I had the opportunity to leave, and it set me up to be able to take the time to establish my business. And basically I'm starting completely over, from what I was doing. It's night and day. It's a lot of work starting a business, as you know. And so I think for me, it was just something I've always really been into fitness. The one aspect of my last job, I'd say that really kind of kept me going for so long was the coaching and the mentoring and the managing aspects. That really was what I was more into, the relationship building, helping people with their goals, helping people with obstacles, much more so than the actual technical work. I wasn't interested in the projects. People would come to me on my team and I'm like, all right, let's talk about this, but my heart was not in it. So I think I just had the right opportunity to take my passion of fitness and helping people and kind of tie it in. And that's kind of how I'm doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how even throughout your other careers, you kind of sensed something. You sense like, this is actually the aspect that I light up with, like really helping people and supporting people, not just, and I think basically if I understand correctly too, and if I could look into your mind and see what you were doing, just you cared about the technical aspect, right, of helping them with their project, but it probably is like you actually cared about the person and you really enjoyed coaching and mentoring them as well. And so yeah, you're right. It just so happens that, you were laid off, but you fell into the career that really lights your heart and serves people in the way that you love to serve them. So that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It is. And I'm lucky. I know not everybody has the chance, financially to be able to to do that. So I don't take it for granted, even though it's
Mhm.
still successful in its own way. I do recognize that I am lucky because even when I left my job, it's unfortunate because a lot of people there just aren't happy. We were bought out by a big company a few years before, and it just changed the culture and the work and all that. And so when I left, so many people were almost envious, and they're like, I'm going to follow you because I want to live vicariously. I think it's great that you're doing this. So, it's not something that I don't think most people would actually be able to go through with it.
Yeah,
Somehow.
it's tough work. It's exciting though. It's like as much as I think us entrepreneurs, we may complain about it with each other, we're like, but it lights my fire.
Exactly.
So good. And it's like great people that you get to meet along the way too. It just really makes it worth it. So will you tell us a little bit then so you mentioned a little bit at the beginning, a little bit of what you do with your clients, but if someone's listening in either their local where you are, or even virtual, since you do kind of do some stuff around that, what do you do with your clients? Like what could they expect if they started working with you?
I think, for people that are coming to me for one-on-one versus like group fitness classes, I think people have, and I'm generalizing a bit, but I think people that come to group fitness classes kind of have the same goal. They either want a combination of like working out with other people. They want, and I also was structuring and I still structure the classes that I do have, that I keep them small because I'm a big advocate for watching people. I'm not a big fan of being in these big boot camps or whatnot where you have 30 people, one person training them, and they're not able to help any one individual to check their form. They're just going through a lot of reps, which is a whole other pet peeve of mine, where I think some people can get injured that way. And, they're not focused on form, they're focused on volume, which to me isn't always the best way to go. And I'm not trying to dig on classes or not. It just is how I've separated myself. And that's the feedback that I've gotten from people in my classes. They still feel like if there's other people, I'm still paying attention and I'm still correcting them and encouraging them and all that. So I think the people that are coming to my group classes appreciate that, and they want that aspect of it, that they're in a group setting, but they're still getting that kind of individualized attention, and it's still helping them towards their goals, whether it's to be leaner, to lose weight, to get stronger. And then I would say the people that are one-on-one clients, and I have a bunch of prospects last week, and they all sort of have the same theme where it's like either they know themselves well enough that if they're not coming to somebody, they're not going to work out, or they might skip it, or they might, kind of do a half-assed workout. So I think they're the people that are like, I recognize that I need to pay for that service to get to where I want to be. And people who also want to focus on their very specific goals. I get a lot of people, and it's probably something I've manifested without realizing it because I've had so many injuries myself over time. And so a lot of people that I train are either coming off of an injury or they have some restrictions. I mean, I'm finding like the majority of people have something that they're like, hey, my shoulder has been feeling funny, or I've always had problems with my knees. Like it's common. And so I think, they're coming to me because they want to train smartly and they don't want to injure themselves or make something worse, or they want to get stronger. So I'm focused a lot on helping people with their individual, whatever their individual capacity is and restrictions, and help to grow it and still get them stronger and ultimately help them get past that. I had somebody, for instance, who came to me coming off of a tricep injury. So when she started, we weren't doing a whole lot of arms or even shoulders because all those muscles were so fatigued, and I didn't want to re-injure her tricep. So, for her, we spent like the first month or so just doing like very simple, small, lightweight exercises. And over time, she's progressed a lot. She even got her first push-up in her life, which is amazing. She's never had that before. So I think a lot of it is just people want that one-on-one attention. And they also, the big theme that I'm finding too, and I always am like so happy when clients and prospects tell me that they're like, I want to train with somebody that's going to like educate me on how I should be moving and how it should be feeling, because that to me is like the best thing ever. I think a lot of people anybody can stand in front of someone and tell them what exercises to do. Like that doesn't take a certification or anything. Anyone can follow and be like, okay, go do this, 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 but it's the understanding of why and explaining that. So I'm always trying to explain to my clients like the method behind things, or if they tell me what their goal is, I'll tell them, okay, this is what the plan's going to be for X number of weeks and things like that. So I think a lot of them want that education, because people aren't training with me every day that they're working out. So they want to be able to take what they're learning and apply it to their other workouts.
Yeah, I love that. I love the how you just even recognize that when people do come to you one-on-one, it's because maybe they need the external accountability. I was, I don't know if you've heard of Gretchen Rubin, and she just talks about the four tendencies, and it's in regards to expectations. And there are people who are known as obligers. Like if they're outer, it's a mixture of outer and inner expectations, that if they book a session with you, you expect them to show up, right? And so they're because they hold your expectations higher than theirs. And so it's just cool to know that yourself personally. So if you know you need accountability in something, there's no shame in saying, I need accountability in this, so I'm going to pay someone for this. And as well as with injuries, I think that's just so important, because I think injuries prevent people from moving. And it's normal. Your brain goes into this protective mindset saying, like, don't do anything, you might get hurt again, right? And we both experienced that, probably even with doing CrossFit. It's just when you injure yourself, you're like, but you're like, just keep moving and doing something else, modifying. But we learned to the point how to do that, while the average person may not. So they may not even do anything, right? And so I love that that's what you focus on and work with people in.
Yeah, and for the one-on-one. And then, like I said, I do a little bit of the coaching, which I hope to get more into. I mean, I think I still do that. Personal training is still coaching people.
Yeah, it is.
They realize it, because people aren't just like, okay, tell me to work out. They have like insecurities, or they have challenges, or, a lot of people, when they start, they're coming to me because they're not where they want to be. And that just mentally translates to like lack of confidence. And so that helps develop and grow that the more they train and they move and all that. So with the coaching side of it, a lot of it is like goal setting, because I think some people know where they want to go, but they don't really know how to get there, or they don't know how to set like smaller goals or reward themselves for the things they're doing. They just get, focused on like, I have to get here, or they have a bad day and they get really mad at themselves. And it's like, it's okay, just accept it and move on. And tomorrow's another day, and you still have tomorrow to reach your goal. So, it's a lot of mindset work, I think.
Yeah, and I think especially in a one-on-one session, you actually get to do that personal coaching, where you're not going to be talking about the movement the whole time. At least that's what I feel with my fitness clients, right? It's like, how was your day? And then you just talk through things. So it's really cool that you can kind of do both in a session.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So let's get into the topic that we have on hand today around staying active during the holidays. I just thought you were one of the perfect people to kind of give us some simple tips, because, with the holidays, and I think it's okay. Let's just say this when anyone's listening, it's okay to let a little loose. It's okay to like enjoy something and not be as strict as you normally will. But I think there's so much benefit to still having some sort of balance and having some sort of, structure, that you're still exercising, you're still sleeping, you're still eating your veggies, those sort of things. So tell us a little bit, what tips can you offer us about staying active in the holidays?
Yeah, that's actually a perfect segue, because I'm a dork and I took a whole bunch of notes. But that's kind of what my thought is too, is that I think people have to also give themselves permission to know that it is the holidays. They are entitled, and they should be enjoying, spending time with their loved ones and their family without the guilt of, oh my God, I didn't get to my run this day, or whatever, kind of just accepting it and not feeling guilty about it. But like you said, though, they should still do something. I mean, I think what a lot of people end up doing, and that's why obviously gym memberships and everything go up January 1st, because everybody slacks off and they eat so many more calories and foods that they don't normally have, that they're like restarting. And I'm not somebody that wants to restart. I mean, even in my own training, like even when I've had knee surgery, I still didn't go more than like a couple of days without being active. So, I think like if people really can't find the time, or it's just not their priority, it's okay. You don't have to get to the gym, but I think at a minimum, like you said, then take the time to like catch up on your sleep and do other things that help you with being, with recovering and kind of balancing out maybe what their normal routine is. And, at a minimum, I would say if they can't get a workout in, it's a great time to focus on mobility and stretching and things like that. So I think, having that time is good. I mean, a lot of times when we are sick, I find people sometimes come back a little bit stronger because their muscles have had time to kind of unwind and they're not so tight, and they might move a little bit better. So I think, that's one way to go. Like, okay, maybe you're not going to be active in the sense of working out, but definitely try to get in some mobility work, a couple stretches here or there. I mean, even like 5 minutes stretching a day is going to make a pretty big difference. So that would be one tip. If they're really unable to get to a workout, it's okay. Just at least try to get your body recovered so that when you come back to it, you're feeling that much more ready for it. And then other things I would say, I think the holidays, because you're around people, depending on the weather and where you live. I live in California, so I don't have the excuse of it's too cold or it's snowing or something. But, even just getting outside for a little bit and walking, like moving is so much better than not doing anything. Going to get your, heart rate up a bit and just kind of get you looser and get your muscles ready. So I think definitely try to get in some walking at a minimum. Even a lot of places, I know they do like turkey trots for Thanksgiving, which is something fun. I've never been able to do it because I'm always driving from New Jersey to New York to my cousins when I visit. And a lot of my extended family has done it, and they love it because it's like, you get to work out with people that you don't typically work out with, and they just get to do these fun, short 5K runs. So even things like that where you can make it like a family event, so that way you're not feeling like you're separating yourself from your family to go work out, so you can still have that time together but be moving, and you can definitely walk. You don't have to even run. So things like that, or just finding, games. A lot of people play football during the holidays, or they go outside and they run around, or whatever it is. So if you're able to take the people you're with and just kind of get off the couch, step away from like all the snacking and just go outside and move, that'll be another thing to do. And the other thing I would say, and I know this is something that will come up in the summit, so they'll get more information if anybody is able to join for that. I did a video on how to do really good, solid workouts without even needing equipment necessarily. So if people know that like, okay, I have like 10 minutes in the morning before like everybody wakes up and I can do something, like again, 10 minutes of moving is better than nothing. And if they can structure it in a way where they're being effective and they're challenging themselves, then they can do it. I mean, you can do air squats, you can do burpees, push-ups, mountain climbers, tricep dips, all these different body weight movements. Set a timer for 10 minutes, come up with some circuit and just keep moving. So I think that's another good way for people to at least do something, so that you're doing something during the holidays. Again, it might not be at the capacity for somebody that does CrossFit. They might feel like, nah, this isn't that crazy, but I don't know. I've done body weight movements and I do CrossFit and they still can kind of kick my butt. So again, just finding the time, and if they can't get to a gym or they can't get to whatever their normal activity is, it's like, just stay home and set your timer and just get some body weight stuff in. So, yeah, I think that was most of it.
Well, that's amazing. Like simple 3 tips that, we were talking about earlier. Sometimes people want to overcomplicate it. But literally, I love that you first talked about mobility and stretching, because man, mobility has changed my life this last like 4 years doing CrossFit, because I think most of us think, oh, it's too, like, one, I don't have the mobility to go do that exercise, or two, I'm so sore, I should take today off. But really, it's just mobilizing our joints and muscles to really be able to perform a task that we need to perform. And so I love that. And you're right. When you take time off and you come back, it's like, man, I feel better. I feel stronger. I feel more mobilized and flexible, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. It's hard in the mindset, but, and then I just love too that you talked about, second tip was getting outside and moving with people. Like, you're around people, like do a family walk, a hike, or workout, just continue to stay active. And then the third thing, you're right, is just do shorter workouts. And like you, when I travel, I do, sometimes we go to a CrossFit gym, or sometimes we do body weight stuff at home. But that body weight stuff at home, that's tough. It might be shorter, but it's tough, And so, but still getting that workout. So when you do head back, you still have a level of fitness and strength, and,
Yeah. So you're still doing something that you're not going back. Because I think that's the key in the holidays. It's like, you don't want to come back from the holidays and feel like you just took 5 steps backwards, instead of at least like maintain, and that way you can kick it back up a notch when the holidays kind of quiet down. But yeah, I think a lot of people just take it as like an invitation to just not work out, eat whatever they want. And then, all of a sudden it's January 1st and they're like, how did I gain 5 pounds? And then they feel worse and they're like back in that cycle. Because there's always going to be something. If it's not the holidays, it's going to be like your kids' spring break, or it's going to be, softball season for your kids, or work's going to have a busy season. Like, there's always something. And I think that you have to always balance that with still doing what you need to do to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I think that's the real point, is that there's always something that comes up.
Yeah.
always something. So we just got to make it really, we have to make it a priority. You know, if we don't make taking care of ourselves a priority, then it's like, it's always just going to be an issue, and we're always going to put ourselves to the side. Right. But I love that you're saying that there could be anything, not just the holidays, but us making it a priority and doing that. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for sharing those tips with us. I can't wait for people to hear you in the summit. So with those listening, if you're interested, I'm doing a 5-day summit co-hosted with Anya Perry around Healthy Through the Holidays, where we're going to have different speakers speak on things around a healthy body, such as nutrition, exercise, stress management, sleep, digestion, toxic load, mindset, habits, and other areas of your life. And they're just going to give you their top tip. And she gave you 3 tips today, but her top tip, look out for that. And so definitely check out the link to that in the blog post. But again, thank you so much, Missy, for joining us. And if people wanted to follow you, learn more about you, where can they find you on the World Wide Web?
Yeah, they can find me in a few places. They can always find me on my website, which is digyourdeepest.com, or they can find me on Instagram. It's the same handle, digyourdeepest. They can find me on social media Facebook. They can either friend request me, or they can add themselves to my group. I think it's called Dig Your Deepest Lifestyle and Fitness Group. Mm-hmm. I may or may not change the name at some point, but for now, at least that's where it is. Yeah. So they can always find me in other ways, and I can get them linked into. Yeah,
I love watching your post. Watching, reading. Hands and push-ups. Boom! Take that. And so, yeah. And I knew you have a free kind of giveaway that you would like for those listening. What is that giveaway if they are interested?
Yeah, I think if somebody wants to do more of the workouts training, I would love to do a 30-minute virtual personal training session, unless they happen to be in Los Angeles and we can find a time to meet up, then we can always do that in person. Or if somebody was more interested on the coaching side, I would love to do a 30-minute goal setting session with them as well.
And so if they're listening, and how do they win that? Do the first person to email you, or how does that work?
Yeah, whoever is the first person to send me an email, they will get it. So they can email me. They can actually just go to my website is probably the easiest thing. And there's a little, they can do a lead from there, and then just reference that they watched this, and I'll know that that's where they're coming from.
Great. Awesome. Well, is there anything else you want to tell us, encourage us in staying active through the holidays before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I just think, everybody should just look at it too as it's an opportunity to do something different than maybe what they normally do. I mean, there's nothing wrong with our routines, but sometimes it's always good to kind of break from it for a little bit. So take it as a plus and an advantage, and just get outside with your family and, make it something that's more community based too.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much again, Missy. Thank you so much for joining us. And everyone listening, be sure to check out the blog post so you can get all of the links that Missy talked about. All right. Thank you.